everyone. Welcome to our afternoon of painting. Today we have Laura Healy from Middlewoods of Newington, and she is the activities director. She's been there for almost 3 years, and we were supposed to have this in the winter before COVID kind of changed our world a little bit. So hopefully everybody is safe at their house and can have a great afternoon of fun. So Laura, take it away.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Welcome, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm happy that you're all able to join us. The paint class that I will be bringing you today is something that I offer every month for our residents and staff here at Middlewoods of Newington. I hope that you all are excited and enjoy yourself today. This should be a relaxing and creative experience. So yeah, we'll get started. I already started off by going over some of the supplies that you will need today. Starting off, everyone should have a 8x10 canvas. We'll be holding it horizontally. A paint palette is also needed. I have just a paper plate here with all of my paint that I'll be starting with. Also a water dish with a little bit of water, a paper towel, and a few different brush sizes. A large brush, a medium brush, and a smaller brush. Here's an example of the painting that I did on my own time. You'll notice it's a little different than the picture that all of you have with you today, and that's perfectly fine. If you want to change any of the colors, feel free to. You can add as many trees as you want. It's really just an inspirational piece. It doesn't have to look exactly like it at the end. But yeah, so we'll get started. We'll start off with our largest paintbrush that you have, and preferably it would have an edge that's straight across the top. And if you have any questions while we're painting, feel free to put them in the chat box and Michelle will read them to me and I'll be happy to answer anything that you have along the way. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with the orange color. I know all of you have a different shade of orange, so whichever one is the darkest orange is where I'm going to start. And we're just going to put a line straight across the middle of the canvas. I might block the camera for part of it, but I'll move out of the way so that you can see what I'm doing after. So that horizontal line across. Everybody see that okay? Yep. Okay. And then from there, we're going to draw a line coming from the middle across to the other side. So you kind of have a triangle in the corner. And then same thing, another line going down to the other side. Okay. So that's our starting point. Then if you want to clean your brush off with the water, we're going to pick up some different colored paint to start with our background up here, the sky. So I'm going to start by taking some white paint and just globbing it on right in the middle of the painting. And then I'm going to take the bright yellow color that we have and same thing. Just kind of glob it on to each side. And then moving on to the golden yellow color, or orange. So with acrylic paint, it does dry fairly quickly. So when you're blending like we're about to do, it's good to have a lot of paint on your brush and on your canvas. Water is also your friend with blending. So don't be shy with cleaning your brush in between and adding water to help blend the colors together. So I'm going to start off by cleaning my brush right now. And then coming to the middle, you can add more paint if you need it. So I'm going to add a little bit more white. And then pull it into the yellow. Together, you want them to blend nicely. It's okay if the white gets into the yellow. That's what you want to see happening. We don't want just harsh lines. We want nice, soft, blended lines. And you can start pulling into the golden yellow as well. And I'm kind of doing rounded strokes too to give it a little bit more movement. And just picking up paint as I need it. And you're going to do the same on both sides, just blending those colors together. And it's up to you. You can paint the sides of your canvas here, or you can leave them white. It's up to you, whichever you prefer. I'm going to leave mine empty on the side, but either way is perfectly fine. So we're just going to keep blending those colors together until you're happy with the colors that you have. And then at any time, if your water gets really dirty, take a break, step away for a minute and clean your water, because otherwise you'll create a muddy mess if your water is not clean. So I definitely recommend doing that. I have a few bowls of water on my tray here. And I'm just adding a little bit more white too, because I want to soften some of the color. Like Michelle said, I was supposed to do a paint class back in March with all of you. So this is my first virtual paint class. So I'm learning as I go along. But like I said, if you have any questions or if you need me to slow down, please just send a message to Michelle. I'm happy to go at your pace. I'll come in a little closer. So that's kind of what I have right now.
Laura, we have one
Yeah.
person coming into our waiting room right now. Okay, she's
Oh,
coming
okay.
in. Okay. Hi, Linda. We can see you. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Hi, sorry about the difficulty. This is Laura. She'll be teaching the class. And if you have any questions, you can ask. And then we're asking everybody when they're all set that they can just stay on silent, just so we don't have phones ringing and clocks and things like that. But Laura, do you want to just catch her up?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah,
and
thank you, Michelle.
Healy.
Yeah. Hi, Linda. I'm Laura. I'm from Middlewoods of Newington. I'm the activity director here at the community. So this is a paint class that I offer here every month for our residents and staff. So I'm happy to be sharing it with all of you today. We're starting off with our canvas, our 8x10 canvas and our acrylic paint. I recommend that everybody has a cup of water, paintbrushes, a few pieces of paper towel, one to clean your brush and one that we're going to use for later. Trying to think if there's anything else. You can put all of your paint on your palette now if you'd like, so that you can keep up as we go along. And I'll start over again as to where everyone had as their starting point. And if you have any questions as we go along, feel free to chat to Michelle and she will interrupt me and pass your message along, and I'm happy to answer.
Thank you. I should have opened these before. I opened the the canvas before, but I didn't realize I'd struggle with the paint too.
Yeah, the paint has a little plastic seal around the top. It's always hard to get off. Yeah, take your time. I'm in no rush.
Okay, I appreciate that because I'm not an artist and I'm nervous, but I thought I should give this a try.
Yeah, as one of our residents would say, everybody's an artist. So try just to let your creative mind go and don't overthink it. Just relax and have a good time.
Okay.
I think this is a great program to be doing right now too during COVID, something that you can do anytime at home with people that you live with or virtually like we're doing. And it's a really good de-stressor. It's a nice hobby to have.
I think it's a great time to try anything now.
Yeah, good opportunity to give something a shot, a new try, learn something new. One of the great things too about acrylic paint, oh, that looks great, Phyllis. Very nice. It's forgiving. Oh, beautiful, Flo. Very nice. Looks like we're all off to a really good start. But yeah, one of the great things about acrylic paint is it's pretty forgiving. It dries quickly, so if there's something that you don't like, you can paint over it pretty easily. So that's a nice thing. That's why I like using acrylic paint.
For me.
Oh, one thing I said, Linda, before you arrived, was that with acrylic paint, because it dries so quickly, you want to put more paint on your brush and on the canvas. And water is also a good thing to have on your brush. So don't be afraid to clean your brush in between so you don't have a muddy mess. And also to help blend those colors that we have in the background. I actually put globs of paint on the canvas when I started and just added more paint to my brush as I went along.
Now, I don't want to hold people up. I feel badly. I'm just getting my paint on my palette now, which I have one more to open.
Okay, for those that are already done with your background, this would be a good chance to clean your water if you need to already, or just get your brush completely clean for the next step. And you can see here on my palette how I have a lot of different colors I'm mixing together too. So don't be afraid to blend things together and try to create different colors even.
All right, I'm ready to start if it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I did was I started off about the middle of the canvas. I drew a line straight across with the orange color that you have.
So I should wet my brush first?
Yep, sorry, wet your brush first and then dip it into the dark orange paint that you have.
Kind of bright orange I have. Is that?
That's okay. Some people got different colors. If it's a brighter orange, that's perfectly fine.
And across the middle, just a straight line.
Yep, just a straight like horizon line.
Okay.
And then from there, you're going to draw a line diagonally, like about an inch up the canvas up to the middle line.
With the orange again?
Yep, with the orange paint again, just a diagonal line up. And then when you're ready, from this corner, you're going to draw another diagonal line up to the horizon line.
From the corner this time. So
Yep.
we have 2 lines.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
And then once you're done with your lines, we took white paint and on your wet brush, clean wet brush. So after you do those orange lines, you want to make sure you're starting off with a clean palette on your brush.
We took white paint and what happened?
Yep, you put a glob of white paint in the middle, and then with that same brush, you don't have to clean it off. I took the brighter yellow paint, put another glob on each side.
In the actual middle of the painting or in the middle of the sky?
In the middle of the sky. So the white I put right there, a glob of white paint, and then a glob of bright yellow on each side. And then after that, I put a glob of the golden yellow on each side of the white, or excuse me, the lighter yellow. And then on the ends is the orange. And then once all of the globs are on, you can start blending them together. So in the middle with the white and the yellow, you can start, and then kind of just go out and blending the colors together.
So go out in a kind of semicircular way?
Yeah, to add some movement to the background, you can kind of have like a half circle stroke. Just like that. And you want to blend the colors together. That's why we put the globs of paint on the canvas at first. And if you need to pick up more paint to blend those colors more, you can do that as you go along. And if you feel that the colors are blending too much, if you don't see enough of a contrast, you can clean your brush off and start fresh again. Is everybody else ready for the next step? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and give the next step. So we're gonna focus on this side, the triangle that's on the left part of your canvas. We're going to create a kind of light tan color, mixing our white paint with the bright yellow. And you can add a little bit of golden yellow as well. So once you have that color, we're gonna fill in this whole triangle over here.
And what did you mix? I'm sorry.
That's okay. So we mixed the golden yellow or light yellow, either one, with the white paint to kind of create a light sandy looking color. And that's going just in the left triangle. And if you're not happy with the color, you can blend it again and add it on top. Like I said, acrylic covers itself pretty well. So if you're not happy with the shade that you have, you can always adjust it. Once you have that triangle filled in, clean your brush again. And we're going to move on to the right triangle that we have over here on the canvas. For that one, we're going to take our green paint and mix a little bit of our white and yellow into that to create a lighter shade of green. If you already have a light green color, then you don't need to add anything if you don't want to. Okay, so I'm blending my green color right now. And same thing, you're gonna fill in the whole triangle, the whole right triangle that we created on the canvas. And it's okay if you cover that line a little bit that you made, the initial diagonal lines, it's okay if your color goes up to there. Okay, so once that side is all colored in green, you can then go ahead and mix a darker shade of green. You can add a little bit of brown to your green if you need to make it a darker shade. And I'm not cleaning my brush for this one. It's okay if you still have green paint on it. The darker green should cover it up fine. And then we're gonna make another triangle here. Another diagonal line there. I'll bring it closer so that you can see because the greens are a little similar. So I made a new diagonal line to create another triangle in this corner. And we're gonna make this smaller triangle a darker green spot of grass. And that same shade of dark green that you've made that triangle, you can just make a thicker line following that diagonal line. That'll be another darker patch of grass in our painting. If you feel like the darker green that you're making isn't standing out enough, you can let that original piece of green triangle dry a little bit more if you feel that your new green is blending too much into it. Okay, and then I'm gonna make another shade of green. I'm going to this time take my bright yellow and mix it together with my green. I wanna make kind of a yellowish green tone now. And that I'm gonna put next to here too. So there you can see I have a few different shades of green in the grass. I'm going to give everybody a minute to finish up on both sides of the canvas there, the triangles that we have, the sandy colored side and the green grass. And again, if you need to get fresh water or clean your brushes, now is a good time to do that too.
So Laura, so far we don't have anything in the chat, but if people have questions, they can maybe unmute themselves and ask you at this point.
Yeah, that sounds like a
While
good
we're
way to do
waiting.
it. Yeah. Yeah, thank you again, Michelle. Usually I have, you know, relaxing piano music or something playing in the background. I should have done that today. It's a little quiet having everybody muted. So yeah, right now I'm just cleaning off my brushes and getting ready for the next step. I'm going to step away for just a minute to clean my water. It's turned a nice shade of green. I'm gonna pour it if I show you, so I'll be back. Acrylic paint can get messy, so I usually have a tablecloth put down when I'm painting so that I don't get it on the surface that I'm painting. I also put a jacket or a shirt that I don't care about over my clothes because it can be hard to get off, just as another note about acrylic paint. If you do get it on your table, though, it will come off with soap and water. You just have to scrub a little bit. Okay. I still see people painting and getting clean water, so I'm not going to move on quite yet. I'll give everyone a chance to catch up to the same spot. Once you're done with both sides, you can add a little bit of green too up on top of the triangle. So I'm just going to add a little strip of green across the top. That's the only other part that I'll add right now. And same thing, I'm going to kind of make a triangle with that shade of green. I'm still using the larger brush, but if you feel that this is too big right now for your painting, you can also move on to a more medium-sized brush for more detail. Either one is fine to use right now. Okay, how's everybody doing? Thumbs up? Good? Okay. Are you all ready for the next step? Thumbs up for the next step? Okay. So now we're going to move on to this white space that we have in the middle of our canvas. And we're going to do a similar thing that we did for the background. We're going to start off with a white glob of paint there. And then we're going to take our yellow paint, add a glob of that, our golden yellow, and then a glob of that orange or burnt orange color. And we're just going to blend those all together, starting at the top. I'm going to clean my brush a little bit, and we're going to start bringing the white paint down into the yellow and the golden yellow and so on. You can see how I'm just pulling the colors down into each other there. And then I'm going to get more paint on my brush to have some more blending. I'm going to pick up a little more white and yellow and come back up here to pull those colors together. And a little more of that golden yellow. I'm going to pick up my painting for just a minute so that I don't get it on the easel, and I'll put it back up so you have a better view in just a moment. And when you're blending it too, you want to stop at those diagonal lines. Don't let it run into the grass. If it does, it's okay, but I'm going to try not to. So I'm just keep blending those colors together. I'm going to add some more paint because I'm still not quite happy with it. I want it to blend a little bit more. I'm adding some more of that orange at the bottom because I want that to stand out a little bit more than it is. But I'm pulling it up into the yellows above so that it still blends together and doesn't have a harsh line. Gotta clean my brush again. Too much of that orange paint now going up on the path. Okay. So again, I'll just give everybody a minute to catch up to the same spot. But as you can see, it's all blended together. I might add a little bit more yellow up top to make it pop. Clean my brush again and get some fresh yellow paint. This is just the foundation for our pathway. We're going to go back over later and add a few more details. So if it's not quite to how you want it to look, don't worry, we're going to touch it up later on. I'm going to take this down for just a second so I have a different angle. Okay. Just going to clean my brush while I give everyone a second to finish up the pathway. Next up, we're going to add in those trees along diagonal line on the pathway. This is good too, though, if you're just finishing up, to let your canvas dry a little bit before we add those trees. My canvas is already dry on the sides here. So that's a good thing with working with acrylics, is that for the most part, they dry pretty quickly. So, oh, looks wonderful, Phyllis. Very nice. Oh, beautiful, Flo. I like the gradual changing color there in the pathway. Nice, Marie. Yeah, I love, if you want to show them, hold them up. That's great. So I can see where you're at. Very nice. So it looks like most of you are ready to move on then. Very nice, Natalie. Okay. So the next part, if the sides of your painting seem to be dry, we can move on to that. We're going to take our brown paint. I have a lighter brown and a darker brown. I'm going to start off with the darker of the two. If you only have one shade of brown, that's completely fine. Okay. Getting a clean brush with water and then dipping it into the brown paint. I'm going to start coming over here, and I'm just going to add a tree trunk going up the side of my canvas. Just have to get a little bit more paint. And your tree can be however you want. It can be as tall as you want, or as slim or wide, and as many as you want to. I know in the picture, there's quite a few going down the path, but if you want less, that's perfectly fine, or you can add more. But as they do go back into the horizon, they should get smaller in size. So you can add trees on this side, and then when you're done on the left, you can move on to the right and add another row of trees going back. I'm going to start by just doing the tree trunks and adding the branches in after, but if you want to go ahead and add the branches at the same time, feel free to. So as you can see, I'm just adding the tree trunks, nothing fancy right now, just the basic outline. And for the trees, I forgot to mention, I did move on to that medium-sized brush, but again, whatever brush you're most comfortable using is fine. And I'm going back and just making a few of the trees a little bit taller that are closer to us in the foreground. Okay, now that I have my tree trunks going on the left, I'm going to move on to the right. I only have 6 tree trunks going back. So like I said, however many you want is fine. It doesn't need to be exact. I always encourage the residents and staff here to add their own touches to their paintings too. That's kind of the best part at the end, to see what unique touches that each individual adds. So on this side, on the right side, I'm going to put another tree trunk not so close to the edge, a little bit in towards the pathway. Just going along. And I'm having the trees, like I said, just follow the diagonal line, so they're fading back into the background as it goes along. And I just keep adding more paint to my brush. But as you can see, the paint does a good job covering the green grass in the background. You can really layer the paint on well. And I think on this side, I'll add maybe 4 or 5 trees, a little bit less than the left. If you're already done adding your trees in, you can start adding the branches if you'd like. Okay, so now that I have all of my tree trunks in, I'm going to start branching off. Again, I'll start on the left side and just add some tree branch limbs. And if your branches aren't perfect, that's okay, because in a few minutes we're going to add leaves to them with one of our paper towels, and it'll cover it up and add a nice effect. And you can add as many or as few branches as you'd like. Whatever you think looks best. I'm having some of mine crisscross each other like that. Does anybody have any questions as we're moving along? Anybody need any assistance? Okay, great. Keep adding the branches. We'll add more detail too to the bark of the trees at the end. That will be one of our last steps. Right now, we're just getting the basic outline that we want for our trees. Adding a little bit more height to a few of the trees. And then I'm gonna stop. And if you wanna hold up your painting or give me a thumbs up when you're done, just so I know, and then we'll move on to the next step. I'll bring mine closer again so you can see how it's just the very basic shape. Very nice, Natalie. And again, I'm gonna clean my brush again so I have a fresh start. And I'm gonna get some new water as well. So I'll be right back. So this is exciting. We're getting closer to the finish line. We just really have the small details now to add. Do you have a question, Phyllis? Oh, it looks good. Yeah, I see. If you need it to dry, what you're doing, Natalie, works, or if anyone has one of the, I think it's like a heat gun dryer. We've used those before at the senior center when I've done classes there. Beautiful flow. I like those trees. Very nice. How many of you have painted with acrylic paint before? Can you give me a thumbs up if you've done this before? Okay, so almost everybody. Awesome. Okay, so let me know when you're all ready again. We'll move on. I think most people look like they're almost caught up. For those that are waiting for the next step, you can grab a clean piece of paper towel and we're gonna crumple it up. And for the color paint that we're going to be using next, you're gonna want that bright yellow and also the orange. We're gonna make our leaves on our trees. That's what the paper towel's for. It's gonna give us some texture. So yeah, so let me know when you're ready. Once you have your paper towel crumpled up, if you wanna just hold it up so I know you're ready to move on. Okay, awesome. I think we're just waiting on one more person. Okay, great. So for those that already have the paper towel crumpled up, you can start by dabbing it into your yellow paint, the brighter yellow one that you have. And just have some paint on it like that. If you want to do a test run on it, you can dab it on another paper towel, or if you have a tablecloth, just to see what the texture looks like, or to dab a little paint off if you think you have too much on it. So I'm happy with mine, and I'm going to bring it up to the board where I have the branches and just start dabbing to add my leaves. And we're going to add different colors to add different dimension and texture, but you can see I just started lightly adding some of the leaves with the crinkled up paper towel. So I'm going to add some more yellow paint and do that on all of the branches where I want the leaves to appear. And then after that, I'll go back in and add another color. So just adding that yellow. This is one of my favorite parts because you just get to have fun and do it more free-handed. And I'm covering the branches too because I want some of the leaves to cover up the branches that I drew on. And you can play around too with how much paint you add on if you want it to have, you know, a thicker texture or less. Very good. Okay, so once you're happy with the amount of yellow that you have on your trees, you can go ahead and pick up some of that burnt orange color. And I'm gonna actually kind of mix it together with the yellow a little bit and then go on over and dab that on top. And if you want, you can get another paper towel. I'm just using the same one, but it's up to you if you want to start fresh. And then I'm going to add a little more yellow on top because I don't like that I added so much orange in that spot. So you can kind of cover it up a little bit if you need to. So that's kind of what I'm working with right now. Then I might add a little golden yellow to it too. I just like adding different colors and blending together. But if you're happy with just the two colors or even just the one, that's perfectly fine. I'm going to go ahead though and add a little bit of that golden color. Just add a little more over there and there. Okay, and whenever you're happy with the way the leaves look, you can hold it up if you'd like so I can see where you're all at. Very nice. And if you're done with the leaves, feel free to start adding some detail to the bark of the tree trunk. For that part, I'm going to take the smaller brush that I have here, the finer one, and I'm going to blend a little bit of white paint with the brown to make a lighter shade of brown and add the highlights to the tree trunks. Okay. So I'm just adding a little few lines and different spots to add some more highlights to the trees. Any questions at all? It's a quiet group. Okay. So yeah, I'm just going to keep adding in those highlights on the tree trunk, and then we'll move on to the pathway next. We're going to add some more detail on there, make it look like some fallen leaves. And if there's a part where your leaves covered up the branches more than you liked, you want more of the branch to show through, you can go back over and add a little bit of your paint to highlight the branch and have it stick out more through the leaves. And again, I'm going to clean off that brush. Okay. I'm going to pour a little bit more paint on my palette in preparation for the pathway that we're about to embark on. For the pathway, I'm going to go back to the medium size brush, not the largest one, the one kind of in between. It looks like everyone's ready for that step. Okay. So I'm going to start with my bright yellow paint. Put a lot of paint on my brush and start just kind of adding strokes, short little strokes across what we already painted on the path. That's just adding texture that you see in the painting. So just quick little strokes over the top. If you look in the painting, you can see that it has that texture. That's what we're trying to add now to make it look like the fallen leaves. So just short little strokes. And I'm going to pick up the golden paint next. Same things, short little strokes. And you can have them blend into each other. And it's okay, I mixed a little bit of green too. I want to have a little bit of green mixed in to the fallen leaves too. It's going to feel more like winter tomorrow though than fall. I think we're getting closer and closer every day. Hopefully no snow though before Thanksgiving. And then after you are happy with the amount of yellow that you have, you can add the orange streaks there as well. Just gonna get a little bit more of my gold yellow. And just keep layering that paint on top. And it's completely fine if some of that paint that you originally put down, that foundation, still shows through. That's completely fine. I'm gonna add that orange. So you can see I'm adding some texture. I'm going to keep adding more though, because I'm not quite happy with it yet. But that's just the foundation. I'm going to add some more yellow with the orange at the bottom. Really blend the colors together. I want to add a little bit of green up here too. Some more yellow. How's it coming along, everybody? Good? Okay, great. Very nice. I love all the fall colors. It's one of my favorite times of year. Very nice, Phyllis. I'm just going to add a little bit more yellow, and then I think I'm going to stop with the leaves on the path. So I'm going to let this dry, the leaves on the path, because that's a lot of paint, and I put it on a little thicker. So I'm going to just give it a few minutes to dry, and then I'll add the shadows of the trees into the leaves there. So for that, I'm going to clean my brush and get some brown paint and just kind of blend it into the leaf pile. But I'm going to wait for the paint to dry a little bit before I move on to that. If you want, you can even add a little bit of brown into the bottom here of the painting. It's up to you. You can keep it that true orange or the burnt orange color. I think I might add a little bit of brown to the bottom there with the orange. Okay, I'm gonna clean my brush so I'm ready for when the paint's dry, or more dry, I should say. I'm not going to have this paint completely dry because I do want some of the tree shadows to blend into the leaves and not have it be a harsh line. That's great. I see someone's using one of the special dryers to dry their painting to make the process go quicker. Looks great. Very nice. And like I said, the next step is just going to be adding those shadows of the tree. So I'm going to start down here, and you can just kind of brush in some of the shadows. Just like that. Doesn't have to be on every tree. I'm only going to do the shadows on the first 3 or 4 trees in my painting. So something like that for the shadows of the trees. And then that's really our last step, is the shadows of the tree there. If you want to go back and touch anything up that you don't like, or that you want a little more color, or anything like that, now's the time to do that. Or if you have any questions or comments, feel free to unmute yourself as well.
Well, Laura, while everyone is finishing up, I just want to thank everyone for coming. I hope they had a great time. You did a wonderful job. Laura and I know each other because I come to Middlewoods and visit all of her residents when we're not in this time that we're in now. And, you know, I love coming there, and I can't wait to come back. I'd love to have you here when we're back in person, but if we have to do it virtually, love to do that too.
Yeah.
And just a reminder that we did record today's program, and it will be on our website, and it will have the list of things that you would need. So now you have your sample, and if you want to have your own little Zoom paint class or paint with your family members, you'll have everything that you need. So if anybody has any questions, we would love to see them. If you want, we'd love to see them if you want to show us your paintings. And if anybody wants to talk, please, you just go up to the mute button up at the top, and where that red bar is, you just press it, or you can hit the space bar. So we'd love to see everyone, and we'd love to see your paintings. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. I'm happy to be with all of you today.
Wow.
And I look forward to being able to go to the Newington Library again too, maybe, and have a paint class in person.